Welcome to the Everyday Ministry Podcast, where ministers get together to discuss everyday ministry.
Swingin hammers at the love that makes me whole. I'm heading back to my roots and all the roads that lead to you. Setting off on a one-way train to a place where they know my name. Yeah.
This is James. I'm sitting here with Ben and Rupe. Ben, if you don't mind, just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Ben. I do lots of things. One of them, I make music under the moniker Swingin Hammer for a little over a year now.
Awesome. Tell us a little about yourself. You got a family and whatnot?
I've got a pregnant wife in Nashville, Tennessee. Moved here two and a half years ago to do music.
Where were you from before then?
Tampa, Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Was that a big?
I mean, not quite that interesting. It was more like somewhere north of Tampa, Florida, that, you know,
nobody would know.
Retirement community, stuff like that.
Yeah. Like Vernon, Alabama. When I tell people,
right, I love Vernon, Alabama, like Newport Richey, Florida.
Yeah, I understand that. Is your wife already showing any kind of cravings or?
Oh my gosh!
Like that?
Yes. Food has been the biggest one. So
just
luckily,
in general.
In general, yeah. But then
Nope.
Yeah, food stuff.
No pickles and peanut butter or nothing weird yet?
Weird for her. Other people probably wouldn't. She's generally really, really healthy eater, just like by nature. She likes healthy things. But then recently she's just been like wanting Sonic and just like weird stuff.
Let's get into the podcast. The first thing I want to ask you, and I know you're not a pastor or anything like that, but in my opinion, everyone's a minister. But I just wanted to get your definition of an everyday minister.
A Christian. I think that in the way that you use it and what we're talking about here, it's in the end, it's really just going to how you use the circles that you have, whether that be, I work another job as well, and I'm not any less a minister at the meat department at Sam's Club than I am on the road as Swingin Hammers or preaching. God uses all of our positions.
That's right, and that's what. I actually recently wrote a blog about it because I was just thinking about the podcast name and all that. But, an everyday minister is everyone. If you're a believer, as a Christian, as you said, then you are a minister of the gospel, and everybody's called to different vocations. If that be, like you said, a meat cutter, or as you're traveling in music, you're a minister in all things you do.
A certain amount of weight that comes with being a pastor, of course, and that shouldn't be without honor. That does hold a higher honor and a higher office, but without the taking away of your everyday ministry. So, yeah.
That's right. The way I look at it biblically, I believe it's the pastor, the minister as well, but their job is to equip the saints for the work of ministry. So It's separated from everyone else, but for the purpose of preparing everyone else. So just tell us the journey in your music, kind of where it began, how you ended up in Nashville, what's going on now, what's exciting going on, and all of that.
Oh boy. Long story short, when I was like 5, maybe 6, I told my kindergarten teacher that I didn't need to go to college because I was going to be a singer. And little did I know, the Lord was actually going to make me a singer when I was 19. I did country music in bars and parties and kind of stuff around town. And pretty bad stuff, pretty terrible, and I can say confidently. And then Jesus grabbed a hold of me when I was 19, and he actually gave me the brand new voice, entirely new voice. I don't sing anything like I used to. I kind of reborn in that. Praise God, because my voice before, no good. But he called me out and equipped me immediately with this new voice. So then I was like, all right, well, I got to go do something with it. So I did, and for 2 years, he miraculously sustained me. I lived with my grandfather, and I had a van that I had paid cash for. So like I was kind of set up, and I had like $150 in bills every month. But I would literally go around town. I'd probably be playing music spontaneously like 5 or 6 nights a week, probably more. And I would just do it for free. I just go around to churches. Everybody knew, give Ben a call if you don't have a worship leader. If you're having some kind of like youth event and you want music, I'd walk in with my kick drum and my guitar, and my sound system, and I would walk in and lead worship or put on a concert or whatever, really. So that was just around like my little area. And then got married, moved to Nashville. That's a quick version of what happened. And then, just the Swingin Hammers thing came out of a bit of a defining of what exactly I'm doing, defining of my mission. And a friend and mentor, a big hero of mine named Ben Shive, kind of drew that out of me. He forced me really to do to work on this mission, because I was like, I don't need a mission, Ben. I just want to make music. That's my mission. I want to make a living making music. What's so difficult about that? And he's like, no, you need a mission. You need a reason why you're doing it. It's like, because God called me? No, not good. You gotta dig in. So it took me about probably 2 years or more to develop what exactly he was talking about. But once that did come about, I did, that's when Swingin Hammers was born. So that's where we're currently at, is I make music under the moniker Swingin Hammers. Yeah, here we are.
So what is the mission of Swingin Hammers?
Swingin Hammers makes music to be an outpost in the dark. Where others thought they were alone, we shine a light and say, you're not alone. I've felt the tension. I know what you feel. I've been there. I just remember being a kid and feeling like just kind of overwhelmed by how crappy life was going to be. Just because by the secular world, but just the world in general, they'll just tell you that life is, you're just a meaningless speck created by some great mistake. And you're just kind of floating through existence, and your life looks a lot like school, work, retirement, death. And that's everything in between is just kind of details. And I remember feeling in my soul when I was young that just simply couldn't be true. And I think everybody feels that, whether they want to admit it or not. They feel the depth there, or at least a lot of people feel the depth there. So I want to speak to those people, the people who really have felt like, man, my music's kind of heavy. It's kind of on the intense side. It's not exactly what you call easy listening. So that's kind of that's why, is because I'm not that kind of person. So I'm kind of talking to those kinds of people. Mm-hmm. And usually those kinds of people are they can be outcasts. They can not be liked very much because they're too heavy and not as much fun as the rest of us. So I want to be there and say to those that you're not alone. I feel what you're talking about. I feel the darkness. I feel the weight of the darkness, but I want to talk about the light, and there's only one light.
So when you are writing songs and preparing songs, do you kind of have a philosophy or a mindset when you do that? Or is it just kind of what just comes to mind?
Every song is different. I just wrote a song that very much is probably, I'm not going to perform it. I'm probably going to give it to another artist just because I feel like Swingin Hammers wouldn't do it well. It's all about the mission of the song, I feel like. There's a saying in Nashville, in the music business, altogether, it's really the key of the music business. It's called serve the song. No matter what you're doing in music business, you're serving the song. Whether you're a session player or you're an artist or you're the songwriter or you're the A&R person or you're the publisher, the distributor, you're serving the song because you believe in the song. So I think it's all about the individual mission of the song. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy is serve the song. Whatever God's given you to say, you need to flesh it out and dig deep into it, and don't just kind of scrape off the top. It's very, you hear it a lot in lots of different styles of music. I won't point one out because really there's not one that's more of a perpetrator than others. But bad songwriting looks a lot like thinking of something and then going, let's put it on paper. Mm-hmm. And good songwriting looks, not that it has to take time, but it has to take digging. So you have to dig into what exactly you're trying to say and think about it and think deeply into it and think about it from other people's perspective. It's kind of like just come at it from all these different ways. And then you get a more of a 3D picture of it instead of just kind of this random fleeting idea that I haven't really thought about for any amount of time or any amount of depth. So that's important to me. I guess that's a bit of philosophy, is that I do believe I'm very slow processor. I feel like I was fine at math. I was terrible at math in school, but I'm fine at math. I just take a while. I just had to sit up here for a while. So everybody else was getting the question right away, and I'm about 5 seconds behind going, oh yeah, and so I feel like that's kind of, I'll mull ideas over like scriptures or authors, different authors writing, and I'll just let it sit there for years. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things rolling around in my head that eventually will come out as songs. They're just not formed yet. They're not matured yet. So I know that's a philosophy of mine. I guess that's one.
I'm always interested to hear how others write different things, because I know nothing about writing songs, just to tie it into, what pastors may feel like. I think it's the same principle when you write a sermon. You have to look at it from the perspective of everyone that will be at your church, but also of the lost person and just the different areas of life. And And that's the only way I can relate. So I try to relate as much as I can.
It's not terribly different, honestly.
I don't have this on our list of questions, but sure by now people are probably curious of why you chose the name Swingin Hammers. So do you want to explain that, or do you want to leave them in the dark?
No, I'll explain a little bit. The whole idea is to leave them in the dark just a little bit, but it's just based on my it's based on my middle name. So my name is Benjamin Jacob Rupe, and in order that means beloved son, fighter, gardener. So Swingin Hammers just talks to the fighter nature in me, awesome. And that's what I'll leave it to.
Okay. I want to ask you one more question that's not on our list, and then we'll get into more of a ministry side of things. Is I know this is probably like a parent choosing a favorite child, but do you have a favorite song to perform?
To perform?
Yeah. Or just to sing in general?
Sure. It's difficult because some songs are just literally more fun to play. Because, I mean, if you hear my song Hangman, you'll kind of see what I mean. Because that's just a fun, stinking song. It's just like a big Southern rock song. It's the most fun song you'll ever hear about death. That's what I say about it. And it's true. It really is. Because it's about dying to yourself. But it's just fun. So that's fun. I don't think that's my favorite song, though. I have thinking of songs that aren't on the record, which would be a really bad way to promote the record. I really love The Fighter. There's quite a few songs that connect with me. Here's an interesting one I'll say, is The Good Shepherd, the last song on the record. It's so funny. It's such a departure. So you listen through the record, and it's kind of all darker and these intense themes, and welcome to Ben, welcome to the world of Ben. It really is that way. So The Good Shepherd is the last song on the record, and it feels as if you've like flexed every muscle in your body, and then you've just, The Good Shepherd is the relaxation afterwards, just kind of like okay, I can breathe now. Like, it's relax, listen to this beautiful song about how Jesus is coming after you. So that's that song, and it strikes me more than most songs every night. It's just a powerful song, and I kind of wonder how I wrote it. Like, how did I stumble into this one? It's simple enough, but it just says everything I kind of don't believe sometimes. And the whole song is just about how Jesus is coming at you. Leave the 99 and you come for me. That's the whole idea. Is that he's relentless in his pursuit, and he's not just going to quit on us, even though we're the dummies that are walking away. And he's going to leave those 99. He's going to come after you no matter what. So, yeah.
Awesome. I know with y'all traveling a good bit on the weekends, because that's generally when you play, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That kind of prevents you from really serving as much as you probably would like in your church. But is there some ways that you try to serve your local church when you have the opportunity to?
Yeah, I stinking love serving the church. It's probably one of my kind of favorite things to do. So yeah, I've done like random things like build stuff and just do like random stuff. But no, in a weekly kind of thing or a monthly kind of thing, I do try to help with children. I watch 2-year-olds and 3s and 4s, and I teach 3rd and 4th grade. I think that's what I've been helping with. And then so my church, Emmanuel Nashville, is literally 25% of our population is children. It's kind of insane. It's like it's getting ridiculous, and it might even bump up to 26 or 7. That we just always have, I guess it's just the time period that we're in as a church, but it's lots of children. So we, so I teach like 32-year-olds, which is just a stinking blast. Me and like a handful of other people. So I do that monthly, or I try anyway. And then I do serve on the worship team as often as I can. I wouldn't call myself a staple. Like, it's more like I'm one of those guys where people see me on stage and like, oh, that guy's back. Not really like, So, and funny enough, I use keys just because I asked for something that would be kind of a little less comfortable for me. Because, you want to be, It was just kind of a fun spot. So it just feels different being at church. And I always know that I sing play keys, which is very different than, my usual job of being on stage in the front, playing electric and acoustic guitar and just, doing the front, man.
I don't know if I've said this in the podcast, but me and you met because you played in a town nearby, and then you ended up playing worship at my church that Sunday morning. Do you try to do that pretty often when you're out and about, if you're able to?
Man, it's been a new thing. I've always wanted to, but it does feel strange. It's just the weirdest thing to cold call a church and say, "Hi, let me play to your congregation." It's a weird thing. So I try and do it through our people I already know. And James, I think you would like to post or something. Somehow we connect on Facebook, and then I just message you, and that's generally what I've been doing. And it's like, at least at that point, you've got a bit of a leg up. You're like, I'm not a creepo. I'm not just the guy who's calling your receptionist asking to play, So that's been good. And nobody knows my name. So it's not as if I go somewhere and they're like, oh yeah, Swingin Hammer. They're like, Chicken Hammers? What? They don't know who I am. So I sure would like to do it more. And as we get bigger and the record is the releases are going pretty well and getting us a lot of exposure, I am contact. If I see they're a pastor, I message them all the time and say, hey, I tell them when we'll be in the area, or if we will at all be in the area. And I say, hey, let's hang out. Or, if you don't even want us to come and lead worship, we'll just come and, worship with you guys, sit in the pews with you. So I just always connect with people that way. Mm-hmm. So I in my upcoming schedule, I'm doing it more than I have in this past year.
Awesome. Is there, when you play worship at another church, is there kind of a way you like to go about picking songs, or?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go through that process?
So that's a whole nother podcast episode. Because I was a worship director. I'm very passionate about that position as a job and as a calling. So that's like a whole other thing to me. But as far as in my Swingin Hammers capacity, traveling and everything, I would say that I really just serve, and then when you're done serving, serve some more. Mm-hmm. It's really it's so easy to go into a church and make it about you, and it's so evil. And all of us are tempted to do it. So when you go in as a guest pastor, or a guest preacher, or a guest worship leader, put on a concert, you just got to serve until there's nothing left. That's the idea. Is just get out of the way. It's not about you. And that's the best word I can think of. It's the word Jesus gave us himself. So I guess it is the best word. Just serve, and don't. So there's a younger Ben that I am very familiar with. There's an interior Ben that I'm familiar with. And he wants to make things about Ben. He wants to make things about me. He wants to demand certain things. And I feel like the Lord's brought me to a place where it's not about that. I really have I'm not interested in that anymore. I have no dog in the fight, as I like to say, in that anymore. So just serve whatever songs they're familiar with. If you have to sing 40 minutes of old hymns, you better learn those old hymns and do the best you can. And if you have to learn the most obnoxious Chris Tomlin, like CCM radio stuff, you better learn that CCM radio and learn that Chris Tomlin and sing it and serve those people faithfully, because that's what they know, and that's what's going to serve the church.
Well, we may have to get up with you and do another podcast on that side of things. That is, for me, I'm not a worship pastor by no means, but the songs we sing in church is something I'm very passionate. So if there's anyone listening, I don't know if there is, but just in case, if there's anyone listening that is an aspiring musician, is there anything you might want to tell them?
Might be the same advice. Might just be serve. So I've been super honest moment. I've been dealing with this whole release, this whole year of touring, a little over a year of touring now, and I'm super tempted to act out of, almost like to think out of an entitled kind of spot. And I'm an experienced musician. I'm a professional musician, and I'm not over this. I'm years into this thing, and I'm still not over this. So I'm sure you're there. Aspiring musicians. Let's just call them musicians, because all musicians aspire to something. It's so easy. It's so stinking easy to make it about what I deserve. I mean, easy. It's a steep hill there, and you can slip real easy into not thinking, how can I serve? What can I do to help? But instead thinking, I deserve this much, and if it's any less, I won't do it. If it's any less, I'll have a bad attitude. So if you're an aspiring musician, and especially if you're a Christian, if you're not an aspiring musician, if you are an aspiring musician and you're not a Christian, first step is become a Christian. Second is to just serve in whatever way you can. And you know what? Honestly, my main job is not serving the church. It's not serving the church directly inside the church. My main job is to go outside the church. That does not mean that I'm not serving the church, though. And that does not mean that I'm not accountable to the church, because I tell you, I am accountable to the church. My whole church, my pastors know what I do, and they have full authority to straighten me out, because basically I work as a missionary, a domestic missionary. I go out and I out the church doors I go, and I go tell people about Jesus in bars and venues and stuff like that. And so even still, it's still serve, even if you're wanting to do something different. And oftentimes, aspiring musicians, you have to realize that you have to know what you're called to. And there are going to be times when the thing is, man, honestly, a lot of the church kind of hates me because they don't see me fitting into their box. And I'm not trying to be some kind of rebel. Lots of people have gone before me and done a better job of this, but I don't fit. There's been music, DC Talk. DC Talk, there are a few of those guys that are just gospel monsters. Like they're sold out for Jesus. There's no problem with Toby Mac. He's the man. He loves Jesus. There's no hiding it. He's not fake. And people protested his concerts because he's not he's not singing gospel hymns or something like, So if you run into that kind of resistance, it's the same advice. You just got to serve your butt off. Serve and continue steadfastly in what you're called to do. But in the end,
well, I want to add this. I know we're talking about musicians in that moment, or whatever the case may be. But if you're aspiring to be a minister of any sort, a pastor, youth pastor, if you just want to help in the church, teach in the church, and you're new at it, do the same thing. Just serve in whatever capacity that you're able to. I think of the scripture of the talents, right? And this may be reading too much into it, but I think of this parable about Christ, and he talks about the one he gives little over, and he does well, he'll give more to. And that may not be the case, because I know some great godly men and women that are serving small churches or doing small things in our mindset, but God is accomplishing big things in them. But I love that advice. I love the advice of just serving the church in whatever capacity that is. Well, as we get ready to go towards the end, the last thing we'll do is do the plug of the week. But right now, I just want to give you the opportunity to just kind of talk about the new album you have coming out and how people can get their hands on it.
Yeah, so just real quick, I guess we can go to, if you want the record, you can go to swinginhammers.com and just click album there, and it'll bring you straight to it. Actually, I think if you can go to Facebook page and click shop now, that'll work too. Get you straight to the we're still in pre-order. I will ship it out to you. Not sure if it'll get to you on release day, but it'll get there. You can do that. You can pre-order on iTunes, which, don't do that, because you're paying pretty much the same amount of money, and I won't get as much of it, and you won't get as cool of a package. Just don't pre-order on iTunes. I'm fine with iTunes sales tanking on that. It's fine. But, and I get t-shirts and all that stuff. So add a bundle, do the whole thing. I'll get you a box and I'll write you a thank you note. But, beside all that, this record it's been in my soul for a long time. It's been waiting to come out for a long time. And it's a bit of a story that we probably can't get into here, but it's been there for a long time. This whole Swingin Hammers thing, is not, although it is new, it's been in my soul, just sitting and brewing and getting ready, for a while. So I'm very excited about it, and it's going to be great. And I'm very excited about the collection of music we have. So yeah, go to swinginhammers.com and pre-order it. And even if you don't pre-order it, you can still just jump on you can still buy it from me, and I'll ship it to you right away. So yeah, that's it, man.
All right. Well,
and I believe we're doing a giveaway as well. If I can talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Do a giveaway. So we're doing a giveaway. James and I have agreed on. We'll do a bundle. So I've got this bundle thing that I'm selling. Comes with a CD, 2 lyric kind of prints that I'll write like a little thank you note on everything. And then also a t-shirt in your size. So if you would like that to be entered in the drawing for that bundle, here's a few things you have to do. To share this podcast, this specific podcast, on your Facebook personal profile or page. That's cool too, but your profile works. And then, do you have a Facebook page, James?
Yes.
The Everyday Ministry podcast. Like that page and like Swingin Hammers. And if you'd like, you can tag us too. That'd probably be helpful too. So, all right. So 3 steps. You have to share it on your personal page, profile. Oh, stupid words. And then like the Everyday Ministry podcast and Swingin Hammers.
And then,
I will. And
then tag us in it. That way we know that you did.
Yeah, we have to know who it is. That'd be helpful too. Yeah, tag us in it too. Yeah. That'd be good. And then we'll send one out, and we'll let you know and get your shirt size and all that stuff.
Man, I appreciate that. It sounds awesome. Too bad I can't enter the drawing. One thing we do on the podcast every week is we do a plug of the week, where it could be a book, a podcast, music, whatever the case may be. Just something that you would like for the listeners to know about. Is there anything you got in mind?
Oh man, I've been audiobooking C.S. Lewis's The Weight of Glory, and I think I've done it twice now. It's like a 4-hour book if you audiobook it, and so I've been doing it, at work. I do it in like 1.5 speed. So it's been, anything C.S. Lewis will just change the way you think. It's just C.S. Lewis's. He's obviously Weight of Glory.
Mine's going to be the most obvious thing I could recommend today, and that's going to be Swingin Hammers. Buy the CD. I'm going to, as I told him beforehand, I haven't yet, but I'm going to pre-order it as well. Buy the CD, and if you're just curious of what he sounds like, and you want to do that before you buy the CD, I understand.
I'm not going to say anything.
But I'm sure they can go to your Facebook page and listen to some of the music.
Absolutely. There's actually some pretty cool commentaries and song previews. So if you want to preview the record, go to the Facebook page. There's like 8 up so far of commentaries about what the songs are about, and little preview snippets of the songs to listen to and videos for them.
Yeah, so go look that up, listen to it, get the commentary on it, and listen to the preview of the song. To me, I love that. When artists do that, I love the commentary to kind of get where they were coming from when they wrote it. I love that idea. I'll put that in the show notes as well. But guys, go out there, listen to Swingin Hammers. I've enjoyed them. I enjoyed them before they come and led worship at my church, and I've enjoyed them ever since then as well. I say them like it's more than just you, but I think everybody understands what I mean. But tell us one more time how we can get up with your music and how we can get in touch with you if anybody wants to.
Yeah, so I would first of all, I would go and get some free music from me. It's a great way to do it. SwinginHammers.com, and you just grab onto I think it's free music at the bottom, or sign up for the newsletter. So basically, if you sign up for the newsletter, you get 2 free songs, and that's pretty sweet. So unreleased songs is the only place to really get them in the physical CD. So do that, sign up for the newsletter, and you actually get like crazy stuff. I take videos on the side of the road. When I'm on the road, I'll just like get out with the acoustic guitar and play a song on the side of the road, stuff like that. I do lo-fi recordings with my iPhone, and you'll get all these weird kind of things like that. So you can go sign up for the newsletter, and it's totally worth it. I've put tons of stuff in there that I probably shouldn't release to the public, but I do anyway. So do that, and then also follow me on Spotify. I've got a playlist called was it like Christian Indies Everybody Should Know, kind of thing like that, and it's on my Swingin Hammers profile thing. So if you're on Spotify, go follow that playlist. It's actually pretty cool because as I discover Christian indies, I throw them up on there, and actually I've got to add a few. So I always update that with all these new Christian independents, a lot like myself, who are not necessarily making worship music. Sometimes they are, but and they're not making Christian music or stuff like that. So little independent guys that you probably wouldn't hear about otherwise. So go follow that playlist. I'm on there. I placed myself on a playlist, leave me alone. And then yeah, I think that's it, man. Spotify, SwinginHammers.com.
Well, Ben, I've enjoyed having you on the podcast, and I appreciate you giving away that bundle.
Okay.
And everyone go and like and share this post, and then like and share both Everyday Ministry and Swingin Hammers Facebook page. Tag is in it, and then after we get some participation, we'll do a drawing to see who wins, and we'll get that sent out to you as soon as possible.
I'm sick of running into the wind. Distracts my back, about time to start kicking and screaming. Gotta get out of here fast. I'm running. Where they know my name, heading back to my roots and all the roads that lead to you. Setting off on a one-way train to a place where they know my name. Yeah, my feet are pounding one by one on the gravel road that leads to freedom, freedom, freedom. It leads to you. And all the roads that lead to you, setting off on a one-way train to a place where they know my